you guys can carry fruit. I've never been prohibited from bringing fruit onto any flight. What happens is, like let's say I'm going to New York and I'm flying through Miami. You land in Miami, you have to go through customs. If you have any fruit left, you have to throw it away. You can't bring it into the U.S. I have brought it in on occasion. Just know, we have a client, there's a woman that's fasted with me 4 times for 42 days, and she used to work at the airport, and that was her job. And she told me a couple interesting things. One, each officer has the right to do what they want. They can fine you, or they can say, it's fine. They can let it through. They may not be supposed to, but they really have a little bit of leeway. But there was one time where I actually forgot I had something still in my bag. But when it's happened, and they've said, do you have any fruit? No. What's this? Oh, is that what you meant by fruit? I did. Or I've never seen that mango before in my life. No idea where that came from. I mean, you could literally say, yeah, my friend must have put it in my bag for me when I wasn't looking. They're going to take it away. They're probably not going to do too much else. They could fine you, so it's a little dangerous. Normally, what I'll do when I'm coming in like that, if I still have stuff that I haven't eaten, I'll just throw it away before I get in line. There's usually a trash can there. Okay, and then, if I don't have time or there's not that much in the airport, I might have another 4 or 5 hours before I land without food. It's no big deal. I have never tried to put it in my check bag. I have had people, a lot of Israelis have been here, and they'll stop on the way back to the airport. The shuttle stops at a fruit stand. We've had people load up and take a whole suitcase full of fruit back, and there's no problem. Not one of them's ever said they had anything taken away. I don't know if you could get away with that. Like in the U.S., yeah. you have to get your bags before you go through customs and declare what you have. It's not just what you're carrying. It's what you have with you. And if they catch you, I mean, it's one thing if you have a mango. It's another thing if you've got 40 pounds of mangoes and you say you don't. You're probably in some trouble. Okay, I wouldn't try.
You can fly from state to state, though, in the United States with.
Well,
you can fly. You can.
Pests, right? It's about they don't want the risk of bringing.
Yeah. So in the U.S., within the U.S., there's no customs.
Right. Yeah.
You can get on a plane. You can get off the plane, unless you're going to some place like California, which really should be its own state. Country. I mean, in California, you are not allowed to bring in fruit from anywhere else. Did you know that? It's illegal.
Good to know.
If you take a bunch of raw nuts for the plane ride, long plane ride, would that be okay?
Probably would. Certainly would if it's in a package. You can always bring packaged food. So if you can find a bag of nuts that aren't roasted, they're actually raw, but nuts and seeds, very concentrated fat, probably not going to be the best thing for you.
Yeah.
Okay, but you could probably bring them on. I mean, similarly, if you, again, if that Whole Foods in Silicon Valley where they've got all that packaged raw food. I mean, this is processed food. It's still garbage, even though it's raw vegan. That kind of thing you can bring on. You can bring food on. You can't bring on fresh produce, and you can bring on fresh produce if it's been prepared. So you could cut it up and stick it in a bag or a Tupperware container. Now you can bring it on. You can't bring it in whole. But here's the problem. This fruit doesn't last very long once you cut it up. It's exposed to the air. It's not refrigerated. It's not, I mean, I wouldn't want to eat watermelon or pineapple or anything like that that's been cut up for hours sitting in a bag. It's not going to really be very good.
In Toronto, from Toronto to Israel, by the time you get into the airport, until you come out of the airport, it's almost 20 hours.
And you can't bring anything in with you and bring it on the plane?
No fruit, I mean.
Well, I mean, I would do those 20 hours without eating.
Gotcha.
That's what I would do if I wasn't able to bring food on.
But in long flights, like flying to India, they sometimes have apples and bananas.
Sometimes they do. Well, that's good. I mean, some airlines actually offer a fruitarian option. I got a fruitarian option once. I got a strawberry yogurt I swear to you, I got a crummy little fruit salad with like 2 grapes and an orange section. It was like a little tiny thing like this. I think there was a croissant, which I don't know how that's fruitarian, but what else did it have? I mean, it was like, really? There was almost nothing there you could actually eat. But
Loren, what do you think about like chocolate fruit that's packaged? Is that just the loss of vitality?
it will have lost quite a bit of its vitality. Yeah. I mean, you're oxidizing nutrients. The more it's cut, the finer it's cut, the more nutrient losses there are. I mean, if that's the only option, it's probably not a terrible option. Because, again, if it's packaged, if you can buy it in a container that way, you can probably bring that on. It's the whole thing, because of the pests, it's the whole thing they won't let you bring in. I think if you didn't hear the question, she said, most of us here are going to be getting on a plane at some point in the next 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Pretty much everyone here within 5 weeks will be flying somewhere. So planes are dry environments. They dehydrate people. Any tips to dealing with that? The answer is yeah. I mean, first of all, you guys, while you're here, sip the water you need to sip, because you can leave here significantly better hydrated than you got here if you're willing to do what you need to do. If you do that, I mean, the only other thing is drink ample water on the plane.
In the airport, once you go through, if you bring your own water bottle and bring it through security empty and then fill it up in there, usually the airport water is total crap, but
I wouldn't drink it. I wouldn't drink it.
You can usually buy a bottle.
I mean, in Heathrow, they actually have machines that give you good quality water. You can bring your empty bottles and fill them up. I didn't know that. I threw my bottles away because they wouldn't let you bring them in full. Most airports, you have to throw them away if you have a bottle of water. And in some places, they won't let you bring on water. I mean, I've been to airports where I've said, if I asked near the gate, if I buy this, can I bring it on the plane? They'll say yes. And some places won't let you bring it on. So yeah, I mean, if you can do that, do that. Carry a bunch of water with you. Ask, can I buy water and bring it onto the plane? Carry it on. Make sure you're sipping water throughout the flight. Okay? Sip at the same pace you're sipping here, right? Or should be sipping here, because it's a very dry environment. This is not that dry. An airplane's much more dry.
Also, I've just asked the hostess once you're on board, like when they come by with the little tiny cups, you say, can you just fill my whole water bottle instead? And usually they'll accommodate. It's a super cheap airline. But I was wondering about fruit. What has been your experience specifically in the San Jose airport, like bringing fruit on board?
Never had a problem.
Never had a problem?
I always bring fruit on.
Regardless of quantities? Do you usually?
There's a limit to how much stuff you're supposed to carry on the flight.
Yeah.
But I'll usually have a big, like a grocery bag size bag of fruit. If it's a long trip, I'll bring a lot with me.
But if you're flying-
take that through security?
Or Yeah.
Buy it in the airport?
Nope, take it through security.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that normally let you.
There aren't too many airports I've been to where you can find much inside the
Don't
airport.
walk into US if you're flying from England, say.
No, you can't bring it into most countries.
Yeah.
You can't bring it in past immigration to most countries. There are some exceptions, but in most you can't bring it in. And if you ever fly through Frankfurt, there's a grocery store in the airport on the lowest level. There's a full grocery store. You can get anything you want. The produce isn't the best in the world, but it's fresh produce. So whenever I'm flying through Frankfurt, if I have time, I'll try to get there early enough to go shop and get, if I didn't have time before I went to the airport, I'll go downstairs and get some things for my travel, because that's a long trip back here from there. Other questions around that? But that's really the key. The key is to set yourself up by getting on the plane in reasonably good shape. Most people are getting on the plane already dehydrated. That's going to be difficult.
And sipping coffee and booze.
Right. And then sipping things that are diuretics.
And then eating the dry food they give you.